Okay, Jalen, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to read your memoir from start to finish and offer you some feedback as I read so that you have my think aloud. And also be giving you some ideas about some things you can do to make your paper stronger. So the first thing I'm going to look at here is the formatting. And as I scroll through the paper, it looks like your formatting is perfect. Whoops. It looks like you are double spaced. It looks like you are left justified all the way throughout the document. I can see quotations in your dialogue. Your heading looks great. You don't have anything bolded. It's perfect. So I would give you full credit for your formatting. That's good. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and get started reading the paper. I see your title. That seems really relevant. That intrigues me, so I would give you full credit for your title. I live with the most annoying kid on the planet. My annoying little on-switch is my little brother. He always tormented me, broke my stuff, and lied about every little thing, even when it didn't even concern me. But after a while, I realized that he meant more to me than I thought. Well, right away, your intro is great. Your hook is awesome. I love that you have this little visual here, a little on switch. I think that we're going to go ahead and just add a hyphen there since that is an adjective. You're describing him in 2 words, so we hyphenate those. The only thing that's just a little bit confusing is you have present tense verb here, and you have a present tense verb here, but then we go back to past tense here, and here, and here. So I'm just a little, that's just a little bit confusing. Maybe instead of saying he always, because always is also present, I would maybe consider he used to torment me so that we can get that in the past. Or when we were young, he tormented me. Or when he was young, he tormented me. Rather than saying he always. So I would switch this to when he was young, he tormented me, broke my stuff, and lied. That's going to make more sense. Okay. Great job on the introduction. I really like it. Full credit on that intro. Just a little bit of convention stuff to fix. Ever since my little brother Jackson was born, I knew from the start it was going to some giant headache having him around. Okay. Looks like we're missing a word in here. I was right. Like what most toddlers do, they claim stuff as theirs, taking anything their little hands can grab. Okay, this sentence is just a little bit confusing to me. So you were right that he was going to be a giant headache, but yet you say I was right, like what most toddlers do. So I was right that he was going to give me a giant headache like most toddlers do. So most toddlers give you a headache. Is that what you mean to say? I don't think that's what you mean to say, but that's what your punctuation is saying. So fix that if you think that that section needs some attention. Okay. Let's keep going. After a while, when he started getting older, getting off the mind stage, he started to ease off from taking and claiming my stuff. But a new era of his world began. Instead of begun, began. Instead of taking what was mine, he started yelling at everything like it was the end of the world. Okay. Do you mean like at things? So he was physically yelling at items? Help me get that figured out. From pillows to the dogs. Okay. So this answers my question. Maybe rearrange this. So instead of taking what was mine, he started yelling at everything from pillows to dogs like it was the end of the world. That's going to help your reader make more sense of that. Not only his vile screaming, but he learned how to talk back. Not only his vile screaming, what? This sentence implies that there's some action because of this vile screaming. It annoyed you. What? I need some information right there. Okay. It really irritated me whenever there's a grammatical error here, tell him to be quiet and he would snap back, no, you. Having a little smirk on his face. Okay, so that's good so far. Don't forget to add some reflection. Don't forget to check your grammar and your spelling. And definitely work on those verbs. Okay, good job. I started wondering why he's so annoying. He is annoying. So in the past, you started wondering why he currently is annoying. That is very difficult to understand. You've switched tenses, so fix that. And why he tries to antagonize me. Again, you have present tense here. So right here, it's just a little confusing. I first asked my grandma. Okay, now we're back in past tense again. Asked, past tense. Why does Jackson always bother me and mess with my stuff? I said, confused. He only does that because he wants to impress you. He looks up to you. replied my grandma with a wise grin on her face. That hit me pretty hard. It changed a little bit of my perspective towards brother. I think you mean my brother. I thought he was being annoying because, not cause, he wanted to annoy me. But there's no more to him than I thought. Oh, there's more to him than I thought. Sure, he's annoying, but he means well. Okay, good. I'm seeing some good reflection in here. Right in this section, I'm seeing some reflection, so that's good. I think we just need some clarification about the action. That same week, I went to my grandma's house after school. When I walked through the dim light, that's the wrong through, dimly lighted hallway is what that should say. The TV was blaring downstairs. Walking downstairs, I saw Jackson playing one of my video games. I wasn't really surprised, and I didn't really care. When I looked to my left, looking at the nightstand next to the TV, I noticed 3 of my games were laid out in the open. I gently picked up one of the discs, and the whole disc was covered with this gooey purple substance. Looking at it closer, jelly, I said to myself, then turned to Jackson. Okay, right here, looking at it closer, I realized, or looking at it closer, I said to myself, comma, quotation mark, jelly, period, quotation mark. That's going to be a little bit easier to understand. What is this? I said, that should say past tense, sharply trying to think of what next to say. He looks at me with teary eyes for raising my voice as he runs upstairs crying. Okay, again, we've got some difficulty with tenses in here. Okay, so we've got to pick a tense and stay there. A few minutes passed trying to get the jelly off the ruined disc. My grandma calls me. So grandma was getting the jelly off? Because that's what that says right there. After a few minutes passed trying to get the jelly off the ruined disc, my grandma calls me. I don't know if that's what you're trying to say. I shyly went upstairs wondering what's wrong. Yes, I said, scared that I was in trouble. Noticing the corner of my eye, Jackson was sobbing. So Jackson was crying when he saw the corner of your eye? I think you mean that you noticed Jackson out of the corner of your eye. Why is he crying? She sharply said, staring directly at me with her hawk-like eyes. He got jelly all over my games, I said desperately, hoping she'd understand. That's good. I like that. She said again, why is he crying? This time her voice was more cold. I looked at the floor. All the color disappeared from my face. I yelled at him. She turned towards Jackson and asked him why he was messing with my games. He replied, I want to be like Jay, so I wanted to play the games he plays. He said, pausing with each word over a deep exhale. I looked at him, feeling pretty bad for yelling at him. I paused. That should be a period. I paused and looked at my grandma for help, but suddenly, out of nowhere, at incredible speed, Jackson gave me a big wet hug, almost knocking me over. I smiled and looked at Grandma when she nodded her head. I then realized that siblings look up to their older siblings. They respect them and want to be like them. Knowing that Jackson wants to be like me fills a gap in my heart that'll be with me for a long time. So the gap in your heart will be with you for a long time? Or that's just a little bit confusing. I really like this paragraph. I think that sounds awesome. So take a look at the feedback that I've given you along with the rubric to make some corrections to your paper. Very good start, Jalen. You are definitely in that BA range for a final draft. Nice work.